stand.
आप हाँ गुज़श्ता रशीद को
बड़े
यहाँ
और
आज
कलम।
اللهم صل على محمد. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
وعليكم السلام.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين. أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى وتقدس: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله ولي الذين آمنوا يخرجهم من الظلمات إلى النور والذين كفروا أولياءهم الطاغوت يخرجونهم من النور إلى الظلمات أولئك أصحاب النار هم فيها خالدون. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Eid Al Ghadir and all other events of this month, Mubarak to all of you. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us tawfiq to learn and to get lessons from these events and to be from children of Hazrat Muslim ibn Aqil, children of Hazrat Muslim ibn Aqil, according to some narrations. So even that event cannot call as a celebration, but the theme behind all mahafil and majalis and the events of celebration and the events of azan mornings, the theme is common: to learn about them and to get close to Ahlul Bayt alayhi and to get close to Allah with the wasila of Rasulullah and his Ahlul Bayt alayhi. Please recite salawat by Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So I'll try to speak about a couple of short points which are related to Eid Al Ghadir. In general, the concept of wilaya, the meaning of wilaya. As we know and we believe, and it is not just our belief, but it is a historical fact that Amir Mu'min was appointed by Rasulullah as his successor and a leader of Ummah by command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When Rasulullah was returning with his companions from his Hajj, when he reached the place of Ghadir Khum, the place which was called Ghadir Khum, Rasulullah receives a message from Allah to ask people to stop, to ask all travelers, all Hujjaj to stop there, and those who had gone ahead were called back, and those who were behind were asked to catch up. And then Rasulullah announced the Imamah and Wilayah of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Everybody knows the most famous sentence from a lengthy sermon of Qadir, when Rasulullah says, Man kuntu mawlahu fahada aliyun mawlah, whoever I am his mawla and master, Ali is his master and mawla. And then, as I said, this is a very lengthy, tawil khutbah, and there are many other announcements and declarations are there in the same khutbah. For example, the sentence immediate after this sentence of Man kuntu mawla fahada aliyun mawla, Rasulullah somehow prays, asks Allah, he does dua, Allahumma wali man wala, wa adi man ada, wansur man nasara, wakhdhul man khadala. O my Lord, be wali and guardian of those who become under the vilayat of Amir Ali. Be enemy of those who have any kind of enmity with Ali, and dua and sentences goes on. So all sentences go on. Then my point is, what does wilaya mean? I know these subjects are very common, and especially we have very respectful listeners, sisters and brothers. All of you are, alhamdulillah, not just trying to learn, but many of you yourself generally teach, not in other subjects of universities, but even in religious topics. So I try to make my points as a student. Whether Sayyid was announcing to full teacher, yes, Sheikh Mujtaba is your teacher, and there is no need for me to come when you call, but I always love to IEC. Ask me, I try to be here. I would like to thank management of IEC. So let me try to make 2-3 points briefly. Number one, what does wilaya mean? There is a kind of huge controversy in explanation of the term mawla or wilaya. Here to go and mention different aspects or different opinions and then try to make my point. I'll take which is somehow accepted from all of us. I mean me and all of you. What wilaya means? Wilaya is a divine authority, guardianship, and Allah is a successor of Rasulullah, a leader of Ummah, appointed by Allah, and the declaration and announcement was made by the hukm of Allah, the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Imam has an authority upon all of us. It is interesting to notice in the same khutbah, before making this announcement in saying this sentence of Man kuntu mawla fahada aliyun mawla, Rasulullah asks a question from audience. Alastu awla bikum min anfusikum? Do I not have more authority upon you from yourself? So wali is the one who has more power and authority upon us even before ourselves, more than ourselves. Why? Because the of Allah, Ilah of Rasulullah is the of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Rasulullah says, after saying Man kuntu mawla fahada aliyun mawla, he says, Allahumma wali man wala. O Allah, Ya Allah, be wali of those who come under the vilayat of Amir al-Mu'minin. So can any Muslim make a doubt about acceptance of the dua of Rasulullah? When Rasulullah says, whoever accepts the vilayat of Ali, he'll enter into the vilayat of Allah. Allah takes him and her in his wilaya. So let us go and ask from Quran. We came under vilayat of Amir al-Mu'minin, his guardianship, his authority. In this wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen leads us, takes us to wilayat of Allah. What is the next result? Quran says, Allahu waliyyul ladhina amanu yukhrijuhum min az-zulumati ila an-nur. Allah is wali and guardian of all believers. He takes them from darknesses, from dhulumat, and brings them towards nur and light. So Vilayat Ali is a means, is a dari'ah, is a ladder towards Vilayat of Allah. And whenever we come under Vilayat of Allah, then the journey starts. We come out of darkness and we enter to the Wadi of Nur. We get Nur and light of Hidayah. So this is concept of Vilayah. And then there is another point which is called Ma'rifat Imam. We know, like for many ibadat, all I would say, even for all ibadat, Ma'rifat is very important. I'll try to make this concept very easy. There is no any complicated discussion here. It is very simple discussion. It is mentioned everywhere that to try get Ma'rifah and your value of your actions, your rituals, the price of your rituals is calculated based on your Ma'rifah. For example, whoever goes for ziyarat of Imam Hussein, to visit Imam Hussein, عارفاً بحقه, with the Ma'rifah. So the price value of our salat, our ziyarah, our psalm, our recitations, all of our good deeds, is the value is based upon our Ma'rifah. Especially we are asked to have Ma'rifat of Imam. Man mata wa lam ya'rif imama zamanihi mata mitatan jahiliya. If we don't have the Ma'rifat and understanding and incitement of our Imam, then our death will be the death of Jahiliyyah. So what does Ma'rifah means? Ma'rifat Imam. Let's keep aside all other parts of Ma'rifah. Just have, what does Ma'rifatul Imam mean? It's very simple. Imam Sadiq Salam was asked about this concept. He says, يَعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ إِمَامٌ مُفْتَرَضُ الطَّاعَةِ غَرِيبٌ شَهِيدٌ. So to believe that, to have a real faith that Imam deserves to be obeyed. If you go to the books, literary books, or even religious content, when it comes to understand and have the concept of Ma'rifah, what does Ma'rifah means? You would find different types of words, like Ma'rifah means to know, having knowledge. Ma'rifah means it is not just knowledge, but incitement. You have to deep knowledge, and there are stages. I am trying to make it very simple. I don't think it could be fine as I am explaining right now here in any specific book. The concept, the understanding of Ma'rifat is combination of knowledge, faith, and a kind of power which gives you a motivation, a strength to act on time, to struggle for your faith, to sacrifice. So I'll try to repeat it again. What is Ma'rifat? Ma'rifat, yes, we need knowledge to know who is Imam, his name, his family background, some of his qualities, place of birth. All of these informations are good and necessary, but the simple knowing something about Imam is not limited. The limited knowledge is not called ma'rifah. Ma'rifah means to know him and to believe in him, and this belief must be strong enough to act based on this belief, to struggle and to sacrifice. So we are told ma'rifat is a power of our hearts, or light, a nur al-qalb. So ma'rifat gives us real strength. I am trying to relate this thought with our practical life. How challengeful is our life when it comes to be firm on Sirat al-Mustaqim, to be a real mu'min. So wilayat is a divine authority. Ma'rifat Imam means to have understanding, knowledge and power to motivate yourself to stay firmly on Sirat al-Mustaqim. So when we get this concept of ma'rifah, this ma'rifat of Imam leads us towards ma'rifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wilayat Imam is nothing independent than wilayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So my point is, this is the only way. We don't have that much time to go in detail. The concept of imamah and wilaya is the only way to reach our real destination, our spiritual destination, that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wilayat and ma'rifat Imam is a ladder, a wasila, a zariya, a tool to get Allah's ma'rifah. When we get Allah's ma'rifah, it gives the real power. For example, we have in some du'as narrated from our fourth Imam, even from other Ma'asumin with similar wordings. Allahumma ja'alni akhshaka kama arak. Wallah, make me fear you as I am seeing you. We don't see Allah with any face. He is not in a physical entity or physical existence. He is known. He doesn't need any space or face or any structure. But we have to feel, Allahumma ja'alni akhshaka kama arak. Oh Allah, make me fear you as I am seeing you. So what happens if we see through our hearts? We have two types of eyes. One eyes are what we see through those eyes, the scenes, and we have eyes in our hearts. One day, we was asked, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, someone comes to Amir al-Mu'mineen and he asks, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, is it possible to see Allah? Amir al-Mu'mineen replies, Lam a'bud Rabban lam arah. I don't worship the one who I am not capable of seeing him. I don't worship the one who cannot be seen. He was very confused. And he says, don't be confused. I'm not telling you that you could see through these eyes. You have to see him through your hearts, through your eyes which are there in your hearts. So when we feel that Allah is there, Imam Hussain says in Dua Arafah, متى غبت حتى تحتاج إلى يدل عليك. Wallah, when have you ever been absent so that you may need something to point to you? Where you have been absent, he is everywhere, he is present. And then Imam in next sentence or in difference of that traces and signs may lead to you. And then he says, عَمِيَتْ عَيْنٌ لَن تَرَاكَ رَقِيبًا. Oh Allah, blind be the eyes that cannot see you. So the point is, when we get ma'rifat of Imam, he is a representative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is a manifest of Allah's attributes and qualities. When we look at them and when we learn about them, we get marifat of Allah, and then when we get marifat of Allah, then we would make our life God-centric. This is an irony in the problem. People, even so-called practicing and religious people, they try to divide their life in a religious activities, non-religious activities. Sometimes, like many people, they try to make distinctions: practicing Muslim, fundamental Muslims, moderate Muslims, Muslims. So if we understand properly the meaning of Islam, there could not be any distinction between moderate and extremist and fundamental. If you are Muslim, we have to be Muslim. And if you are Muslim, it means our life, our lifestyle, our actions must be under wilayat of Allah. So wilayat Imam is a tool for wilayat of Allah. Then when we live with wilayat of Allah, then our life must be God-centric. I try to make this concept in many of our occasions in my different programs whenever I got a chance. One of the challenges of time, even many believers, they think that we have to be a Muslim in parts of our life. So sometimes we are very practicing Muslims, sometimes we feel that we are kind of religion free, or there is no restriction. Even religion is not kind of restriction, but it gives and provides the system for our life. So if we are Muslim and Mu'min and believer and Mawali of Mawla Amirul Mu'mineen, then our life must be God-centric. We have to remember, Imam of time, we act according to this faith. I mean, our actions, our decisions, more importantly, our thoughts must be God-centric. So then whatever action we have, what decision we make, what friend circle we choose, what neighborhood we choose to live, what job we try to get, and how should be our earnings and how should be our spendings. All of our decisions must be under wilayat of Allah and wilayat of Imam, which is in alignment with wilayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is one of the challenges when we hear a lot that I like it, I don't like it. So we have to say, whenever it comes to the religion and to true belief, we have to make the pleasure of Allah, His Riza, the Riza of Imam, and to live with wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen, and then only we will be successful here and hereafter. Sallu ala nabi wa ala alihi al-athhar. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. اللهم صل على محمد. With the permission of our dear respected Sayyid, our guest, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I'll keep it very brief, inshallah, as we have a question and answer session. And we have the questions already. We finish them and people here have further questions if we have the time. Otherwise, we'll have to apologize and finish the session because we've had a lengthy program. Some of you may have come from earlier. We had the graduation, alhamdulillah, of our members of the community. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase us all in knowledge. Rabbi zidni ilman, inshallah, all of us. The ayah that I want to reflect on very briefly is the last ayah of Surah Al-Ra'd. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in that ayah, He says, وَيَقُولُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لَسْتَ مُرْسَلًا قُلْ كَفَى بِاللَّهِ شَهِيدًا بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَكُمْ وَمَنْ عِنْدَهُ عِلْمُ الْكِتَابِ. This ayah, again the last ayah of Surah Al-Ra'd, which was a surah that was revealed in Mecca, it declares that there is a witness for the message of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and this witness has knowledge of the book. عِنْدَهُ عِلْمُ الْكِتَابِ. If we reflect on this ayah on its own, it would suffice to understand and acknowledge the status of Imam Ali alayhi salam, and further realize that the appointment in Ghadir was more of an official appointment, or more of a logistical part of the implementation of the leadership of Imam Ali alayhi salam. And I'll explain inshallah as we are celebrating this occasion of Ghadir, and also the occasion of Al-Mubahala, Eid Al Mubahala. It is very important for us to understand that Ghadir was not the day of the appointment. It was the day of the implementation, the day of the execution of God's command. Otherwise, the appointment initially happened in the day of, the very first time was in the day of what is known as Hadith al-Dar, when the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he invited his family members, وَأَنذِرْ عَشِيرَتَكَ الْأَقْرَبِينَ. He invited his family, and when he asked them who would be the one who would support him, therefore he would be his successor, وَخَلِيفَتِي, or his وَصِيِّي وَخَلِيفَتِي مِنْ بَعْدِي. And Imam Ali alayhi salam stood. The Prophet confirmed that twice. The third time, then he declared Imam Ali alayhi salam to be his. Some of the uncles of the Prophet ridiculed the situation, came to Abu Talib, the father of Imam Ali alayhi salam, and said to him, your son now is your master. Your son from now on is your master. So it was a ridiculing statement to Abu Talib, and ridiculing the whole appointment. Otherwise, that appointment occurred then. It was further clarified and confirmed in many, many incidents and ayat of the Holy Quran. One of the questions that was sent was, why was there no explicit declaration of the wilayah of Imam Ali alayhi salam in the Holy Quran? Inshallah, we'll come to that, but in very brief terms, there are many explicit ayat in the Holy Quran that describe the position of Imam Ali alayhi salam to be next to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I mean, why would we need or have the need to declare a Khalifa when he is next to him? In the event of Mubahala, he is declared to be Nafsu Rasulullah, Anfusana wa Anfusakum. In other ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala declares him as the partner of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. When he declares that you are like Harun, you to me are like Harun was to Musa alayhi salam. Therefore, we have to look at what was Harun to Musa alayhi salam. Harun was the wazir. وَاجْعَلْ لِي وَزِيرًا مِنْ أَهْلِي. One, wazir. Wazir, okay, a minister, a supporter, a helper, the number one aid, that's one. Only that, no. Ushdud bihi azri, make me strong through him. Wa ashrikhu fi amri, make him my partner in this mission that I have. So if Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has a mission of risala, Imam Ali alayhi salam is his partner in his mission. So the partner in the mission of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the one who is the witness. Again in Surah Al-Ra'd, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَيَقُولُ, the last ayah, وَيَقُولُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لَسْتَ مُرْسَلًا. Those who disbelieve, they still say, وَيَقُولُ is very interesting. They continue to say, after all these proofs that were given to them, they continue to say, you're not a messenger from God. لَسْتَ مُرْسَلًا. Then your response, what is your response, Ya Rasulullah? God is telling him, respond to them. What is the response? He says, قُلْ كَفَى بِاللَّهِ شَهِيدًا بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَكُمْ وَمَنْ عِنْدَهُ عِلْمُ الْكِتَابِ. Tell them, God is enough of a witness between me and you. Now God, how does God witness for him? The Quran. We have to understand. This ayah actually declares the itra or the hadith al-thaqalain one more time or another time. وعترتي. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, قُلْ كَفَى بِاللَّهِ شَهِيدًا بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَكُمْ. God is not coming to speak as an individual like some of the other schools declare him to be. And I'll come to this inshallah very briefly. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, according to the school of Ahlul Bayt, which is empowered by the words of Amirul Mu'mineen salawatullah wa salamu alayhi, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not have a body. Unlike others who declare that he has a body, he puts his foot in hellfire, he puts his hand on the hands of certain people, and so on and so forth. All of the false beliefs about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the physical attributes, or that they give the physical attributes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going, God is not going to speak to them as a shaheed except through revelation, wahi. So what is the shaheed bayni wa baynakum? The first witness between them is wahi, revelation. قُلْ كَفَى بِاللَّهِ شَهِيدًا بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَكُمْ. Because this is a situation of needing a witness. So what is the witness? The first one is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How? Through the revelation. What is the second? Ilmul Kitab. Now some, they try and avoid. By the way, in the Mufassirin, there are, all of the Mufassirin of Ahlul Bayt are unanimous on the fact that وَمَنْ عِنْدَهُ عِلْمُ الْكِتَابِ is referring to Imam Ali alayhi salam. Other Mufassirin, some of them declared that this ayah is referring to Imam Ali alayhi salam. Some of them did, and those who want further research, they can find the tafasir of this. Others, they denied that. So who is وَمَنْ عِنْدَهُ عِلْمُ الْكِتَابِ? I'm going to give you some of their interpretations, and I'll leave it with you. Just like they tried to play, and that will lead to the questions with Ghadir and what is the interpretation of Ghadir, they tried to interpret this ayah. So how did they interpret this ayah? We said, God is saying there are two witnesses between me and you. The Prophet is told by God, قُلْ كَفَى بِاللَّهِ شَهِيدًا بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَكُمْ وَمَنْ عِنْدَهُ عِلْمُ الْكِتَابِ. Two witnesses, God through revelation, and one who has the knowledge of the book. Who is it? According to those who try to avoid saying it's Imam Ali alayhi salam, they say it's Jibreel, because he's the one who has ilm al-kitab. When did Jibreel come and speak to the kafirin and tell them, I am the witness? It didn't happen. Never did. Never would. They would never ever have the opportunity to meet Jibreel, the angel of Wahi, if it's Jibreel or any other angel as Sayyid mentioned. So if God did not speak to, if Jibreel did not come and say, I am a witness, that ayah makes no sense. God is saying, وَمَنْ عِنْدَهُ عِلْمُ الْكِتَابِ, they're saying Jibreel. Now we're seeing that it's not useful. How is Jibreel going to be a witness for them when he never spoke to them? That's one. Another one, they say it refers to Ahl al-Kitab, the people of the book, because they have Kitab and they have the knowledge of the book. Interesting. We're speaking of the time of the Muslimin in Mecca. In Mecca, they did not have that the number of the exposure that they had when they were in Medina, to have the Christians and the Jews come and debate and so on, to declare that yes, this book makes sense, and it seems to be, you know, similar to revelation that we've received, scriptures and so on. And when they had the opportunity, when they had the exposure and they had the opportunity, they did not declare it to be a book from God and declare him to be a messenger from God. Rather, they challenged him, and then they withdrew the challenge, and this is why we're celebrating what? Mubahala. Yes? They challenged him, and then they withdrew their challenge when they were fearful. And that is when they said, we will pay the jizya, we will have a peaceful life amongst you, but we will not accept you as a messenger. They did not accept him as a messenger. So how are Ahlul Kitab his witness? قُلْ كَفَى بِاللَّهِ شَهِيدًا بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَكُمْ وَمَنْ عِنْدَهُ عِلْمُ الْكِتَابِ. They suggest it's Ahlul Kitab. Absolutely no way to interpret it that way. It would make no sense at all. God is saying the witness is one who has the knowledge of the book, and they're suggesting it's Ahlul Kitab, who would never give the witness for the Prophet ﷺ. Until today, they don't give a witness for him, except the ones who would be more of a Muslim that still carries the label. And that's another discussion. You know, the label, because of cultural and social circumstances, they may still carry the label of Ahlul Kitab, but they're a Muslim. They submit and accept the Prophet as the Prophet of God. Otherwise, they would not be. So who is the one, وَمَنْ عِنْدَهُ عِلْمُ الْكِتَابِ? There is no other interpretation that would make any sense other than the one that declares that it's Imam Ali alayhi salam. Now this is very important, because one who was a witness when the Prophet was there, the Prophet was amongst the people, and in two ayat, I'm going to share with you another ayah that Imam Ali alayhi salam himself says that this ayah refers to me. In one of the riwayat, the Imam salawatullah wasalamu alayhi was saying many ayat were revealed about the people around in Quraysh. Then somebody asked him, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, what was revealed about you? So then the Imam gave him this example, not that this is the only one. He gave him this example. He said, have you not recited أَمَا تَقْرَأُ الْآيَةَ الَّتِي فِي هُودٍ أَفَمَنْ كَانَ عَلَى بَيِّنَةٍ مِّن رَبِّهِ وَيَتْلُوهُ شَاهِدٌ مِّنْهُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, how about the one who is very clear in his matter, in his action, in his beliefs and action is very clear, على بينة من ربه, and that is from his Lord, and recites for him شاهد منه, a witness from him. This ayah also declares Imam Ali alayhi salam. The Imam says this was revealed about me. Subhanallah, the other Sahaba can say and make declarations, but Imam Ali alayhi salam cannot. This ayah was in fact revealed about Imam Ali alayhi salam as the witness, one who was a witness for Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He was the partner of Rasulullah. He was the supporter, wazir, and the one who gave strength to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was his witness, and he was the gate of his knowledge all during the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He has ilmul kitab. He has the knowledge of the book. That person is set aside, and we go and appoint someone else as a Khalifa after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The ones who frequently said, we don't know. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says, ask me. I know the ways in the heavens and the ways in the oceans. Ask me before you lose me. And he would never have any doubts in giving any answers. Everything he gives with yaqeen and knowledge, certainty. One that is set aside, and we go after people who frequently said we don't know, and if it's not for Abul Hassan we would be perished. This is a clear, this ayah and many other ayat are clear declaration of the position of Imam Ali alayhi salam, who is the partner of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not just his Khalifa. That's what I'm trying to get to. He is the partner, and he is the witness, and he is the one with the knowledge of the book, not just the Khalifa. Khalifa is a secondary issue for him. If you want knowledge and guidance to the school of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we have no other means or way other than the way of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi afdalus salawat wa tahiyyat. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us the opportunity to seek knowledge through Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullah wa salamu alayhi and his family salamullah alayhim ajma'een. Inshallah, with that I will conclude my part, and I apologize for any delays that the program started late and we had I guess a little longer than what I was expected to speak. Inshallah, we'll now move on to the questions. I will ask Sayyid, and inshallah we'll have him give the answers. If I can contribute, I will, but inshallah we'll have the honor of hearing from Sayyid, inshallah. With your permission, Sayyid.
Fadl.
So the first question that was sent, very related, besides the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam nominating Imam Ali alayhi salam as his successor, were there any other prophets who also nominated their successors before?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. As Sheikh Mujtaba mentioned, we had the concept of wasi and wazir. Like Nabi Musa, he had wasi, or we have for other Anbiya as well, like the one who was capable of taking what is called Malikatus Saba in Quran. He was a wasi of Nabi Sulaiman. So the concept of wasaya and wasi was there even before our prophet, in other prophets' time.
This for the first question, definitely we have the Anbiya, all of them had their awsiya. According to our Shia traditions, every single prophet had their wasi, their awsiya. They appointed someone so that people do not get confused afterwards. I was listening, sorry Sayyid, with your permission, I'm going to elaborate a little bit. I was listening to one of the very prominent speakers in the Shia world nowadays, in the Arabic world. Many of you may know him, or especially the Arabic speaking, Sheikh Ahmad Salman. It's interesting to learn some of these facts. And I was interested to learn or to know how he actually became a follower of Ahlul Bayt. He was a Tunisian who typically they're Maliki, and eventually he chose the school of Ahlul Bayt. How did it all start? It's very interesting. He says that they were speaking about the fitan, or the wars that happened after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the teacher in the class was saying, the teacher believes, the reason, he asked the class, why do you think all these wars happened after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Why do you think it happened? And everybody gave a different answer. Who's responsible? Some people said shaitan, some people said jealousy. Everybody gave different names or different reasons who's responsible. So the teacher, interestingly, said it was none other than Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The teacher suggested that it was Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the teacher was very secular, Alman. He was in high school, and the teacher was secular. He was giving that class, but he gave the answer from a very secular perspective. That, that it seems to be the Prophet. Why? Because he did not declare anyone after him. All these things happened because he didn't make things clear for people after him. He says, that was the trigger. I started researching to answer the teacher, who was a secular, and eventually I came across the group who believed that the Prophet did indeed appoint a successor. From a very secular perspective, to not appoint a successor is very foolish. I'm sorry to mention this term. It's very foolish. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would not declare a successor for the Prophet. The Prophet would not declare a successor for himself. Interestingly, the first Khalifa, in the historical context, Abu Bakr, he declares a successor for himself. Subhanallah. He figured it, but the Prophet did not figure it. So this itself answers. Yeah, every Prophet declared their successor. So we'll move on to the next question, inshallah, and apologies for the delay. When the Prophet had already appointed Imam Ali alayhi salam as the successor in Ghadir, why did the Ansar gather in Saqifa and appoint a Khalifa? And why did no one discuss about Ghadir Khum in Saqifa?
Go ahead, go. Third question.
Ahsan. So this is very much politically motivated. The ones who went to Saqifa, actually, the ones who were in Medina during the time of the departure of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam were typically the less submissive and more hypocritical, because the Prophet ﷺ had ordered everybody to leave Medina and be with the army of Usama. And the people who stayed behind, and some of them went and came back, were the people who were very much interested in what would happen politically after the Prophet. They expected that he's about to depart this world. Therefore, they were there with the agenda. They knew about Ghadir. It's not like it was something that they were blinded about. They knew about it, but they had a political agenda. Whoever was there was simply interested in appointing somebody besides Imam Ali alayhi salam. That was the goal of Saqifa. Otherwise, it was not about whether or not it should be Imam Ali alayhi salam. It was about, we need to appoint somebody besides him. Who is it going to be? And that's unfortunately the audience and the theme of that gathering.
I think we can discuss and elaborate more in every question, but it will be better to just keep it simple to cover more questions. So, ahsantum. Should we respect all the Sahaba and hate none of them? So, question is, should we respect all Sahaba? So, what is the meaning of Sahaba? Before I continue, it will be, I think, more interesting if I ask from all of you, brothers and sisters, can anyone explain who is Sahaba? What is the technical meaning and definition of Sahaba or Sahabi? Who is Sahabi or Sahaba? Just quickly. Anyone?
The companion of Rasulullah.
The companions of Rasulullah.
Vary, to be honest, but not all companions can be considered companions
Yes. So actually, you are trying to answer my this question. So the definition of Sahabi is the one who meets Rasulullah physically, who sees Rasulullah's face, apparently with the Iman by Shahadatain. So, like for example, we have one of great personalities of that time, Uwais Qarni. He is not considered as a Sahabi. Even there was a communication between Rasulullah and him, and there were messages to share and to send. So technically, whoever meets Rasulullah and he was able to see Rasulullah's face, and then with Islam apparently. So our Ahl Sunnah brothers, they believe in adl of Sahaba kulluhum udul. All of them, they were just, and then we have to respect them. We respect Sahaba of Rasulullah, and we have to respect Sahaba of Rasulullah, but with certain conditions. Those who were in the teachings of Rasulullah, those who were real followers of Rasulullah. Otherwise, many of them, as the brother mentioned, who were hypocrites and munafiqeen, and we have clear ayat in Quran about them. These ayat speak against them. They were apparently considered as a Sahaba. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself speaks against Sahaba if we go with the same definition. And it is very against with our common sense. There are hundreds or thousands people who were killed in the hands of some of these persons who were called as a technically Sahaba. So it is not just a small sin or small crime. They try to take Rasulullah's message, they try to stop the mission of Rasulullah, they kill thousands of Sahaba themselves. So how it is possible to think that we have to respect because he recited Shahada and then he was able to see the face of Rasulullah. So Munafiqeen are mentioned. So we respect Sahaba, those who were really who were pious, who maintained their taqwa, their iman, but not all of them, and it is proved in Quran, Hadith, and everywhere. And there is no any point of confusion to be in there.
The next question, as a Shia, will I be able to perform prayers behind the Sunni Imam? In general, yes. So you can pray behind the Sunni Imam. Most of our scholars don't have, or jurists rather, don't have any issue with it, unless it is somebody who has hatred for Ahlul Bayt. Nasibi, if they have hatred, animosity towards
It is a Sunni interpretation of explanation of the event. This is interesting. The riwayah and narration of Khaliq is hadith mutawatira. It means a news, a khabar, a narration which is narrated by a large number of people, and you cannot doubt in its authenticity in hadith itself. So many Muslim scholars in their kutub hadith, from the resources of our Ahl Sunnah brothers, they have written, they have said, and they in these days mention this hadith of man kuntu mawla fahada aliyun mawla. There are hundreds of scholars who agree with this same hadith and same event of Ghadir, but in the interpretation of the concept of wilaya and the meaning of Mawla, they don't believe in the imama, what we believe with the concept of imama in its meaning, imam means a person who is appointed by Allah as a successor of Rasulullah, and he is a ma'asum, and they are mentioned and they are declared by Rasulullah, not in the same details what we believe, but majority of Ahl Sunnah, they somehow believe in the hadith itself, but they have different interpretation. As I said, Mawla means to just have friendship, to love Imam Ali, and to have friendship. These types of interpretations they have. But as I said in my first speech, Rasulullah himself explains the meaning of Mawla. He says, Alastu awla bikum min anfusikum. It is a complete authority. It is not just a kind of small friendship.
Inshallah, we'll finish with this question because their dinner is ready, and I know many brothers are waiting, and I think it's the befitting question to finish with, as we said, celebrating the Ghadir. The interpretation of others does not really take away from the right of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam in there, and as Sayyid mentioned, the part of the declaration of the Prophet ﷺ was very clear. Ablagul Arab. He was the most eloquent in Arabia, and before he made his declaration, he made sure he clarifies what type of wilayah he's speaking of. So he didn't say Man kuntu mawla fahada Ali mawla until he said Alastu awla bil mu'minina min anfusihim. First he declared what type of wilayah. It's the wilayah declared for the Prophet in the Holy Quran that is more, in fact, the authority more than their own authority for themselves. And then he said, whoever I have that authority, then Ali has that authority over them. Man kuntu mawla fahada Ali mawla. With that we end. Say it, dua. نسألك اللهم وندعوك باسمك العظيم الأعظم العزيز الأجل الأكرم إلهي بمحمد وعلي وفاطمة والحسن والحسين وبالتسعة المعصومين من ذرية الحسين. رب زدني علما وعملا. O Allah, increase us all in knowledge and acting upon what we know. Make mu'mineen and mu'minat from amongst us more concerned about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His pleasure, and less concerned about this material world that we're living in. Make us more concerned about the pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, far from any kind of sinfulness. Make those who have difficulty anywhere in this world, especially mu'mineen and mu'minat under oppressors and tyrants, grant them, Ya Allah, the quick recovery and relief. Ya Allah, grant mu'mineen and mu'minat who are unwell, who asked us for dua, the quick recovery, and those who have passed away from our gatherings, mu'mineen and mu'minat, grant them abundance of your mercy. وَعَجِّلْ لِوَلِيِّكَ الْفَرَجِ. Hasten and bring sooner the return of the Imam of our time. Make us amongst the sincere followers and companions. Walhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Let us request, I request mu'mineen and mu'minat, let us all recite for all the marhumeen, especially the marhumeen of this gathering and those who provided and arranged tonight's program. Send them all the rewards of Al-Fatiha ma'a salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. As-siratal mustaqim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim wa la-d-dallin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.